She still loved him, but she couldn't stand how far apart they'd grown. Same house, same table, same bed, but the silence between them, it felt louder than ever. After 25 years of marriage, Lisa whispered one night, "Do you even see me anymore?" They didn't hate each other. They didn't cheat. They just stopped connecting. And here's what no one tells you. A marriage doesn't fall apart because of one big thing. It unravels from 1,000 small ones. Because at the heart of every long-term relationship, there are 3 pillars: love, sex, and money. You can start with love. You can build wealth together. But if your souls stop connecting, if you no longer share the same values, the same vision, then the rest slowly begins to crack. So ask yourself honestly, which pillar in your marriage needs tending right now? Love, intimacy, financial teamwork, whatever it is, share it. Not with blame, not with fear, but with a heart that says, I want to grow with you, not apart from you. Because in the end, it's not about being perfect, it's about staying connected. Today, we're uncovering the real reasons love fades, and the moment at minute 14 will make you question how close you really are to the person beside you. 1. The invisible disconnect. They never fought. No yelling, no slamming doors, just silence. Lisa couldn't remember the last time Greg looked at her like he used to. The sparkle was gone, but not because of someone else, because of something worse: nothing. They sat on the same couch, scrolled through the same phones, watched the same shows, yet felt miles apart. She asked him how his day was. He grunted, fine. She smiled anyway out of habit, not happiness. And every time she swallowed her disappointment, a piece of her started to fade. Here's the truth no one tells you. Most marriages don't collapse from infidelity. They crumble from emotional disconnect, that slow, quiet drift where you stop feeling seen, heard, or needed. In the early years, we talk for hours. We ask questions, we listen, we care. But somewhere between carpool and credit card bills, conversations become checklists, and intimacy becomes routine. You still love them, but it starts to feel like you're loving them alone. So tonight, before the silence grows louder, remember why you chose each other in the first place. The way they held your hand that first time. The night you stayed up until 3 a.m. talking about nothing and everything. If that happiness once existed because you chose it, maybe it's time to choose it again. Not by blaming, not by waiting, but by saying what you need clearly, kindly, and without shame. To the stress we bring home and the duck vs. chicken argument. Greg walks through the door, drops his bag, sinks into the chair, eyes blank, shoulders heavy. Lisa spent the entire day with the kids. Laundry, deadlines, dinner, discipline on repeat. She's been waiting to talk, to connect, to feel like a partner again. But Greg is quiet, not angry, just gone. Lisa thinks he doesn't care. Greg thinks, I just need 5 minutes to breathe. And the truth is, neither of them is wrong. They're just speaking 2 different languages of stress. That's what external pressure does to a marriage. It doesn't kick the door down, it slides in quietly. On the back of unpaid bills, sick parents, harsh bosses, sleepless nights. Until slowly, you stop seeing your partner as your teammate and start seeing them as one more thing you have to manage. Greg doesn't realize Lisa's craving appreciation. Lisa doesn't realize Greg is crumbling under the weight of being the strong one. And when gratitude fades, gentleness follows. And without gentleness, even love feels sharp. Self-reflection question. When was the last time you thanked your partner not out of habit, but from the heart? Sometimes the most powerful words in marriage aren't I love you. They're I see how hard you're trying. I'm proud of you. Thank you for showing up even when it's hard. Because even the strongest marriages break down when both people feel invisible while doing everything they can to keep the family standing. So tonight, before you ask for more, pause and appreciate what's already being done. It might just shift everything. They say the biggest fights in marriage don't start with betrayal. They start with a sound. Quack, quack. Quack, quack. Lisa and Greg were still in their honeymoon phase, hiking through a rainforest, when they heard it. Greg tilted his head. That's a duck. Lisa squinted. No, it's a jungle hen. Chickens live here, not ducks. Definitely a duck, he said. Jungle hen, she snapped back. Duck, chicken, back and forth until Lisa went full dramatic tears, stomping the whole show. Greg surrendered. Okay, jungle hen, you win. Lisa sniffled, smiled, and held his hand. From now on, no more arguing with me, deal? And for a while, that was it. Until next week. Remember the duck? Told you I was right. But here's the point. It was never about the bird. The real issue? Neither of them was listening. They were too busy being right. And that's exactly what happens to so many couples, especially after 40. It stops being about understanding. It becomes about winning. One wants to be heard. The other wants peace. One pushes. The other shuts down. Until neither feels safe to say what they truly think. And those duck versus chicken fights? They become walls. Not because of the content, but because of the pattern. Self-reflection question. Are you trying to understand or just trying to win? And here's the funny part. If a duck had walked out of those trees, Greg would bring it up forever. See? I was right. But if it was a chicken, Lisa would bring it up at every holiday dinner. Remember the jungle hen? Classic me always right. That's why the real wisdom is this. Don't let a bird define your marriage. Because in love, there's rarely a clear right or wrong. There's only this question. Do we want to fight for truth or choose happiness together? Real connection doesn't come from winning. It comes from listening, from saying, I don't fully agree, but I still choose you. So next time you find yourself in a duck versus chicken kind of argument, pause and ask, is this really about the bird or about being heard? 3. When love starts to feel like a to-do list, they don't argue much anymore, but they also don't laugh. They don't touch. They don't talk about dreams. They talk about bills, groceries, appointments. Then they go to bed, back turned, phones in hand. Lisa used to count down to Friday nights. Now she just counts down to silence. It wasn't one big fight. It wasn't infidelity. It was Tuesday, and then another Tuesday, and another, until routine replaced romance, and us became maintenance. Greg still loves her. He'd say it in a heartbeat if he thought it mattered. She still loves him. But she's tired of feeling like a roommate with benefits, minus the benefits. That's what happens when we stop tending to the small things. When we stop dating the person we're married to. The same routines that once felt comforting now feel like chains. And here's the metaphor no one talks about. It's like planting a garden then never watering it because you already did that once. Love doesn't survive on old vows. It needs new effort, daily. Self-reflection question. Are we building a life together or just maintaining a schedule side by side? Because here's the truth. If one day a spark does light up elsewhere in a smile from a stranger or in a memory from the past, you'll look back and realize it wasn't passion that left you. It was effort. So before resentment grows like weeds in a garden you forgot to water, ask yourself, are we still choosing each other or just checking boxes together? Because saving a long-term marriage isn't about grand gestures. It's about showing up when it's boring, listening when it's routine, loving when nothing feels romantic. 4. The parenting paradox. They were once lovers. Now, they're co-managers of bedtime routines, school schedules, and pediatric appointments. The love didn't vanish. It just got buried under soccer practice, spilled milk, and the third night in a row of chicken nuggets. Lisa remembers when Greg used to kiss her neck in the kitchen. Now he just asks, did you pack Ellie's lunch? Greg remembers when she'd whisper, I miss you for no reason. Now she just texts, pick up toilet paper. They love their kids more than anything. But somewhere along the way, they forgot to love each other. They used to share dreams. Now they just split duties. And here's the paradox. They became amazing parents, but almost invisible partners. Because when the baby arrives, something else often leaves. Intentional intimacy. You stop looking at each other as man and woman and start only seeing mom and dad. But here's the quiet truth. No one tells you kids don't need perfect parents. They need parents who love each other. The greatest gift you give your child isn't a perfect routine. It's a front row seat to a healthy, loving relationship. Self-reflection question. Have we been raising kids or forgetting we're still raising a marriage? And here's the part that stings. Once the kids grow up and leave, you'll either rediscover your partner or realize they became a stranger in the process. So while you're building a family, don't forget to nurture the foundation it stands on. Because marriage advice for older couples isn't about reigniting fireworks. It's about remembering how to hold hands again, even when they're full of diaper bags and grocery lists. 5. the silence of unmet needs. He didn't cheat, he didn't lie, he just stopped asking how she was doing. And she didn't leave. She didn't scream, she just stopped sharing how she felt. That's how most emotional disconnects begin. Not with betrayal, but with neglect. Not the intentional kind, the quiet kind, the kind that grows when both people assume the other is fine. Greg thought, she knows I love her, I don't need to say it every day. Lisa thought, he sees I'm tired, I shouldn't have to explain. But love doesn't work that way. We don't just need to be loved, we need to feel it, see it, hear it. Because when emotional needs go unmet for too long, even the strongest marriages start to crack. The problem? Most people don't say what they really need. They hint, they hope, they wait. And when they don't get it, they resent. Self-reflection question. Are you silently hoping your partner knows what you need, or have you actually said it out loud? So if you're wondering how to save your marriage, start here. Don't assume. Speak up with kindness, not blame. Instead of, you never listen to me. Try, I miss feeling connected to you. Instead of, you don't care. Try, it would mean a lot if you asked how I'm really doing. Because unmet emotional needs don't destroy love overnight. They wear it down. But the beauty is, just as silence creates distance, words honest, vulnerable ones can bring you back together. 6. The things we never finish saying. Not all arguments end with slammed doors. Some just fade into silence. And that's where the real danger begins. Lisa used to bring up small things like how Greg never helped with dishes. Greg used to ask why she always criticized him in public. They used to talk about it, but one day it felt easier to not bring it up, to avoid the eye roll, the sigh, the same old script. So they stopped. But here's the thing, unresolved conflicts don't disappear. They go underground, and like roots beneath concrete, they quietly crack the foundation. One day, Lisa snapped over something small like him forgetting to buy milk. But it wasn't about the milk. It was about every, I'm fine, she said when she wasn't. And Greg? He withdrew. Not because he didn't care, but because he didn't know how to fix something that never got named. Self-reflection question. What are you pretending isn't a problem, just to keep the peace? We think avoiding conflict protects the relationship, but what it actually does is starve it of truth. Because unresolved doesn't mean forgotten, it means repressed, and repressed emotions don't stay quiet forever. So here's the real skill in long-term love. Not avoiding fights, but knowing how to finish them. With respect, with clarity, with the courage to say, this matters to me. Can we talk about it before it becomes something bigger? Strong marriages aren't built by perfect people. They're built by people who are willing to face the hard stuff. Together. 7. The midlife mirror. Greg bought a motorcycle at 48. Lisa rolled her eyes. He's having a crisis, she told her friend. And maybe she was right. But it wasn't about leather jackets or loud engines. It was about something much quieter, a voice inside him whispering, is this it? It happens to so many people in midlife, not just men, women too. You wake up one day and wonder, is this the life I signed up for? Am I still me, or just who I've become to survive the schedule? You start searching, not for someone else, but for yourself. And when your partner sees you pulling away, they often assume the worst. Are they bored with me? Is there someone else? But the truth, sometimes we don't want a new person. We just want to feel like a person again. That's the quiet danger of a midlife crisis in relationships. It's not just about aging. It's about identity, purpose, loss of self. Self-reflection question. When you look in the mirror, do you still see someone your partner would want to know? So what do you do when your partner starts changing? You listen. You ask. You invite them back, not to who they were, but to who they're becoming. Because long-term love isn't just growing old together. It's growing through who you both become over time. A midlife crisis isn't the end of connection. It's a chance to rewrite what connection looks like at this stage of life. With more honesty, more patience, and maybe more adventure than you thought you had left. Maybe it wasn't the big things. Not betrayal, not lies, not even falling out of love. Maybe marriages fail after 40 because we stop choosing each other in the small, ordinary moments. We stop saying thank you, stop asking how are you really, stop reaching across the bed just to hold hands without a reason. And then, when the distance sets in, we blame routine. We blame time. We blame stress. but sometimes we just forgot to nurture what we promised to protect. Here's the truth. No marriage is perfect, but the ones that last aren't built on perfection. They're built on intention. Daily choices, soft words, tiny acts of kindness that whisper, "I still see you, I still choose you." So tonight, don't just reflect on what's missing, reflect on what you're willing to give. Because love isn't a feeling that fades, it's a decision you remake every single day. Now we want to hear from you. What's the one habit, gesture, or phrase that's kept your relationship strong over the years? Share your story in the comments because someone out there might need to hear exactly what you've learned. And if this video helped you reflect, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that love is worth the effort.